Anyone else really struggle in the summer? Like, it is just not your season. If you're feeling like that now, then welcome. This reading is for you. I recently did a reading for myself because I just really struggle in the summertime. Summer is just not my season. And I wanted to find a survival guide to navigate through this time. And that's when I'm recording this. It's the beginning of summer. But this is a timeless reading. You can watch this anytime. I put the intention into the cards to have this be of service to anyone who is drawn to this video and watching it at any point in time. My intention with this reading is to give you something to hold on to if you're feeling like you're struggling internally in some way. I want this reading to help lift you up, but not in a false way. I want it to truly see where you're at and help lift you from that point in time. So this is not going to be all love life and lattes kind of reading, but my hope is that you feel uplifted at the end and you have some anchor points you can grab onto to help you through this time period where you may not be feeling your best. If you know that you're going to want a more in-depth reading, I am accepting new clients at this time, and you can request a reading at emilyrosedivination.com/offerings, and I will link it down below and put the link right here. I can't be the only person who is not a fan of summer, so if you're one of the weirdos like me, I would love to know in the comments below. Without further ado, let's dig into some cards. Go ahead and take a deep breath and select one of the 3 decks that you see here. Which deck returns to your mind again and again? Is it deck 1, which is the Lilac Lenormand, deck 2, which is Sawyer's Lenormand, or is it deck 3, which is Titania's Fortune cards? Once you have your deck, feel free to pop it down below in the comments. And if you see yourself kind of oscillating between 2, try to pick just one, but if both are really calling to you, just go ahead and watch the interpretations and your reading for both decks. I always love to see which ones you all pick in the comments below. And usually we see some groupings of certain decks popping out more than others, and I always like to see where the collective consciousness is at. Remember, any futures we talk about are all possible futures. If there's something that you're not resonating with in this reading, there's almost always a way to impact or change things, and that's because I'm only asking for helpful, actionable information in this reading. Remember, you are ultimately in control of yourself, and a reading on YouTube is not meant to be something that completely changes what you are already planning to do. So just please use your own intuition and balance that with your judgment. Here's what I received for you. The first thing I saw was this kind of plume of clouds. They were like pillows that you could kind of rest on. Kind of, you know, when you're a kid and you're looking up at the sky, what you think clouds are going to be like big pillows. And I saw you just kind of resting on them and looking down. And there was this carefree, calm attitude. I wanted to just stay up there. It seemed really nice. But as I stayed up there with you, I felt like there was this anxiety that was coming in, this kind of rush that I felt like I should be down there on earth, not up here, kind of in this calm, peaceful state. And there was this kind of split that was occurring, like I was supposed to be in two places at once. And one thing that came up that I heard a guide say was, this respite is here. Like, this respite is always here, was the feeling I got. So you can always come up there no matter what's happening on the ground, no matter what's happening on earth, and rest up there for a while. You could literally just visualize that, like resting on a pile of clouds above everything that's happening. This isn't really the time to take any big actions. This isn't required of you right now. And I think that this vision is really trying to give you permission to let yourself off the hook. Let yourself float above things. Let things happen on the ground beneath you. Even if it feels like it directly involves you, you don't need to do any kind of big actions at this time. It's important that you take time to rest up high for now, and you will be back in reality soon, back on the ground at some point. But right now, what I feel like is causing this, I'm reading a lot of Buddhism right now, what they say is causing suffering. The thought that's causing suffering right now, it feels like, is that you need to be doing all these things when really what your soul is craving is rest. And I get it. We live in a society that it's hard to just take time out, rest in kind of a daydreamy type state. But it's important that you do that as much as you can. And do what you have to do, of course, but try to take some time out. And it's okay if things aren't fixed or resolved right now. What I was feeling from the vision is that there's things that feel like you need to get involved in them, or things that you feel like you should be doing that you're not doing. And this is kind of causing some anxiety or this wondering, am I doing the right thing? Am I not? The vision very clearly stated that you are doing the right thing. Where you are, you don't really need to get involved. But I think it's important for us to be specific, because specificity, as I recently wrote for an article, specificity is the antidote to overwhelm. Specificity is the antidote to overwhelm. So if we can get specific about what is concerning, what is bothering you, then we can have some tools to work with it. What I got from this as well is that I feel like it's important to figure out right now what is in your charge to do or in your control to take care of, and what is important for you to kind of just leave right now. So I'm talking about situations. So let's get specific with Lenormand on what these are so we can kind of clearly categorize them in our mind. Okay, so I'm going to take a look here. So this is what is helpful for you to take care of now. Let's see. Okay, the clover. Okay, so what I'm getting here, I have the clover up top, the ship or boat, house, and crossroads. And what I'm seeing here is that you have an opportunity. This is saying that there's a limit, like, those commercials, limited time opportunity or whatever. There's limited time opportunity right now for you to make some necessary changes with your household. So I'm getting the sense that there's a big shift happening at home, and this is for a limited period of time. So I would say anything home related, if you have an option. So this could be something like refinancing your home. This could be something like managing schedules in your household. This could be something related to career and how that's going to affect your home. This could be children going to daycare. That's what I'm experiencing now. This could be a lot of different things like that. But it's saying that there's shifts that are very temporal right now. These are short. These are things that are happening right now that need to be taken care of because they're very impacted by time and taking action now. So the immediate things that involve the changing nature and decisions surrounding your home, that's okay for you to take action about. Let's now look at what you don't need to worry about. What is something that is not yours to deal with right now? So this is what is not yours to deal with at this time. Okay. Okay, so we have the key up top, and then we have the bouquet cat, which is kind of like the dog, right? Dog card, and then the letter. I feel like one more card needs to come out, so I pulled the anchor. So what I'm getting here with the key as kind of our category that we're talking about, I get the idea of just the general idea of success and being successful. And with the bouquet here, what does success look like, right? Looking successful. And with the cat, letter, and anchor, I also see this as being loyal to, being committed, being faithful to things that make you look successful, right? Things that make you look like you're successful. And also with the letter, I see this as like, but sticking with what you're really loyal to and making it look nice, especially. So we may think, well, let's take an example of how this could apply. So this could look like you are maybe on a committee at work and your committee is supposed to be in charge of a potluck at work or something. Yeah, you may look successful, right? If you are kind of gung-ho about it and you organize everything because, technically you're signed up to do it, right? But do you really have to do that? The answer is no. Like, you don't really have to do those things. So the things that are going to make you look really good right now, the things that you can get away with not doing, that's okay right now. It doesn't mean that you're not committed to those things still, because you are actually committed to the deeper parts of things. You're just not committed to the surface level part of it at this time. So the things that we do want to pay attention to are things that are very temporal, things that are happening now, things related to your family, to your home that need to happen now. The things that you don't have to worry about so much relate to appearing successful and kind of following through all the way with things, even though they probably they wouldn't have a lasting impact on things. So those surface level things we can just let go at this time, and you may decide to pick them back up later, but right now, let things go if you can. So I want to know what is going to bring you fulfillment at this time. It's definitely this top one. Okay, Page of Cups. And I kind of want to see what the shadow side is. I feel like it's this one. King of Cups. Okay. What I'm getting with these two is to channel your emotions and feelings, not necessarily through words, but through creativity and doing something childlike. So this could be drawing, or this could be doing collages, this could be making music, this could be literally doing anything that you were attracted to as a kid. And you don't have to be I'm using air quotes here, good at it. Remember, we're not concerned with appearing successful right now. That's not what we're interested in. And so this is a time to be playful, to have fun, and to deal with our emotions in ways that maybe we don't naturally reach for right now, but ways that our inner child would reach for. Now let's find a mantra that you can repeat to yourself, that you can say over and over again at this time. So what mantra will be helpful? Emptiness. So you may look at this emptiness card and think, what? But I love the quote that is included with this modern Nirvana oracle. It's from Lao Tzu, and it says, "We mold clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that makes the vessel useful." And I feel like this is a time that we're emptying out things that we no longer need, and we are creating space to bring in things in the future. But right now is a time to cultivate that emptiness. So like I saw you just kind of hanging out on a cloud above, you're not taking a bunch of actions, you're just resting, relaxing, and observing what's going on. And the emptiness really plays into that. The mantra that is included in this deck for the emptiness card is, "My mind is an open door to empty space. Where there were once thoughts, only the elegance of stillness remains." So this could be a time to find that quiet space through meditation. But I think that through the creative endeavors, you're going to find that space of emptiness more accessible to you. And by channeling these thoughts, and emotions and everything that's kind of stored up into that artwork, you're emptying your mind, you're emptying what you have been storing, and that's what you are called to do at this time, because then you can use your vessel for other things. If you would like to request a one-on-one reading with me, you can do so at emilyrosedivination.com/offerings. And if you are attracted to any of the decks that you saw here, I have links to purchase them below. If you were to purchase some of the decks at the links below, some of your proceeds do go towards supporting this channel and towards supporting local bookstores, and it is noted which links do that below. Thank you so much for watching. What I noticed here was a hole that you were digging in the ground, and it was kind of shallow to start with, and there was kind of this deep hole, and it was like you're kind of digging yourself into a hole. I promise this will have an uplifting message. Just stick with me. But what I also noticed was you crawling out of that hole and instead churning the soil over by hand. And it was a messy process, but it also felt very meditative, serene, and productive. But the thing about churning over the soil was that you weren't immediately seeing the benefits of doing that action, right? Because I don't know a lot about plants and gardening, but I imagine that churning soil is to kind of freshen things up in the ground or make the soil more fertile to plant things in. And that's kind of what you were doing, is you were doing this work, but you weren't maxing yourself out with this work. You weren't working really, really hard. You were working methodically and carefully and meditatively and churning this soil over so something could grow. And I could feel this dissonance in that space in terms of feeling, because there was one thread of the feeling that felt like, why am I doing this? I'm just doing all this work and not seeing a result. But there was this other state of, all I need to do right now is churn the soil, and I can be calm. I can relax while I'm doing this. This doesn't have to be a manic activity I'm doing. This can be relaxing. And there was a singular focus to it, and that is what brought peace. I feel like what made me feel that sense of dis-ease or disharmony in that space was the idea that I should be seeing results. That should word. I should be seeing results. I'm working and not seeing the immediate payoff to that. Where I felt the relief was in the thought that all I need to do right now is churn the soil, and it has a purpose. I'm doing this for a purpose, and I don't have to overwork myself as I do this, and I can enjoy this process as it's happening. And one thing I saw you doing as you were churning the soil was kind of admiring everything that can live in the soil. Even though we think dirt's gross or whatever, it's there for a purpose, and there is beauty even in the things that we deem as dirty, right? The word dirty, it's gross. But even in that, there is beauty. And you were admiring, I could see you looking at like the different gradations that were in there. I don't think you can actually see minerals, but there was kind of like little shiny bits in the soil that you were admiring. And that's what this time is really about. Can you just focus on what you're doing and not look outward to the way you think things should be right now? We kind of live in a culture that really talks about seeing the payoff, hustling to see the payoff. But can you enjoy this moment now of churning the soil in whatever way you're doing that in your life right now? And can you strive to find the beauty in it? So the question that's coming up for me, because I have a feeling you probably know what it is that you just need to kind of put your head down and work toward. But I want to know, like, what can you look forward to right now? That's what came up for me. What can you look forward to? Garden. Lilies. Gentleman. Writer. Lady. And child. So I can see this as, with the garden, it's something social. So doing something social out in public, out and about. And I see this as, with the gentleman and the lady. So this could be with somebody, someone who you're really close to. It could be a significant other, or it could be a really good friend that you have. But what I'm seeing here is having this time of peace, this peaceful time of some kind, but doing things together with the gentleman and the woman. There's a visitor that's coming, or this could just be doing things together. And with the child, so depending on your situation, this could be a physical child, but I kind of feel like it's just being playful, doing something fun. This doesn't have to be a big thing. It could just be something as simple as, I don't know, like later today, me and my husband and child, we're going to go get ice cream somewhere. And that's what I'm looking forward to right now. It could literally be something as simple as that. It could be something like visiting somebody as well and having fun, doing some type of visit. But this is something social. You can look forward to some type of social occasion. And if you don't have something like that set up, it's important that you do set up something like that, just so you can have something that is kind of on your calendar that you can look forward to, that you know you're going to have a good time at. The next question I have is, what are you working toward right now? Like, what is going to be the outcome of churning all this soil? Like, what is going to be the outcome of churning this? Judgment and King of Cups and 10 of Cups. Amazing pull that brings this whole reading together. One thing I didn't mention is that when I was doing the vision, one thing I wrote is that anything that dies feeds the soil. It's in this area. And notice how strong you are. So that was at the bottom there. And I see that with the Judgment card. I get the sense that maybe you just went through a really tricky period as well. And this is the time where this could be something really heavy, like literally you're mourning someone who has recently passed on. This could be the loss of an opportunity of some kind. It could just be that you've been through a generally difficult time and you're doing the work to kind of churn the soil to regrow something. And with the Judgment card, I see that as being reborn and creating an environment in which you can be reborn. So this is a time where you are getting things ready to create something new, something beautiful in. And through the act of churning that soil, of doing this work, you are processing your emotions. And this is a commonality I'm seeing between all of the pulls today, is this King of Cups and this idea of processing emotions. And these emotions need to be processed. This grief that you have, or the challenging times you just experienced, all of those emotions need to be processed through you. And as a result, what we get here is the 10 of Cups, the happy home card. But the important thing to know about the 10 of Cups here is that it's really hard for you to see the life that you have built unless you step out of it for a little bit and notice it. Take the time to notice everything you have. They're looking back at their house here. And so that's, with the vision, noticing the soil, noticing how rich it can be, noticing what you can grow. And if you can notice the magic that is present in the soil, in the mundane, imagine when you achieve goals, when you achieve things that you truly desire, what that gratitude would look like, what that appreciation and what that awareness could look like. And this is the time to start practicing it. So this is a time, instead of to think of, look what everything I've lost, this is a time to start processing those emotions and start reframing things as, yes, like I did lose some things and that is really hard, and I have my emotions, I'm able to grieve, but also I am churning the soil to grow something new. Something new can grow here, and it's going to be stronger for it, because anything that you're adding to that soil is fertilizer, right? So you're going to be able to grow something new, something beautiful, and look what the outcome's going to be. 10 of Cups, happy home, happy life, lots of love around you. Now let's go ahead and find a mantra that you can carry with you through this time period in your life. Let's see what comes up here. Gratitude. Oh my gosh. Is this 10 of Cups energy or what? I love the quote that goes with this gratitude card, and it's from Brother David Steindl-Rast, and he said, "We are never more than one grateful thought away from peace of heart. So I think for you, if you picked the second deck here, you are really in a time of healing. And one of the key ways to heal is through gratitude. If you've listened to my podcast, we have a whole episode, Attitudes About Gratitude. I'll link it below. You know that I have complex thoughts about, I'm using air quotes here, about gratitude as it's used in our community, but true gratitude, when you truly feel something grateful, it can be an amazing path to healing. And so this is about finding those little tiny things that can help you to feel like your heart is full. The mantra that comes with this, that is with this deck, the mantra that accompanies this card in this deck is, I awake each morning with a grateful heart. I am happy, I am healthy, and I am ignited with life's sacred spark. If I was saying this, I'm not really healthy, so I can't use the I am healthy. But you can insert whatever you feel grateful for genuinely. If you would like your own personalized reading, you can request a reading from me at emilyrosedivination.com/offerings. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. If you chose the third deck here, you have a short and sweet message. What I saw was a serpent snaking through, and you were kind of sitting on a rock near like a pond of some kind, like a pond or some type of like smaller body of water. And the snake just got kind of close to you, but it just went by. It didn't even look at you or bother you in any way. And I could feel this temptation, not to get all biblical, but I could feel this temptation to kind of want to mess with the snake in some way, right? To kind of try to scare it off. But the thing was, is it didn't even touch you. It just kept going. And that's really what to pay attention to here. You don't have to get involved with everything that seems like it's going to be a problem or a threat in some way right now. I also wrote, don't interact, let it pass. It is not yours to mess with. Enjoy yourself here. So I got that there's a lot for you to enjoy around you, but there may be this tendency to kind of fixate on a problem that is a very real threat, but it might be okay if you just leave it alone, if you just don't interact with it, if you don't give it any air. And I know that's easier said than done, but I think that there's a lot for you to enjoy here in this present moment. And I think that if you were to try to actively solve a lot of the problems that you see around you at this time that maybe aren't yours fully, maybe they involve you, but they're not really your battles to fight, then you may see yourself in more of a tangle and in conflicts you don't need to be in. So this is saying, I'm reading a lot of Buddhist texts and reading from a lot of Buddhist teachers right now. And one of the things they talk a lot about is wise action. And I think the wise action here is to do nothing, is to just enjoy where you're at and not get involved with any problems you don't absolutely have to get involved in. So I think for your pile, it's actually pretty easy for you in terms of what to do, right? It's easy, but it's easier said than done, right? But the request is easy that's put upon you, which is to just enjoy where you are right now and just let the snake go by about its snaky business. And I think the question I have is, what can you look forward to right now? What is something you have that you can look forward to right now? We have the Man card. Okay, so I'm getting the sense that you're going to have someone this is probably someone from your past of some kind, someone who's like an older friend, someone who you're connected with for a long time, that they're going to bring some new energy or some news. Maybe they're coming to visit, maybe they're bringing you something. And the funny thing is, if you look at the last reading, it's very similar to this. With what to look forward to. So I think this is just in the air. But I think you have someone who is going to be visiting, potentially, maybe someone that you haven't seen in a long time that's kind of just been away from you for a while. And it seems like they're bringing you some invitation or something new to you. So I think you have something exciting to look forward to here. And if you don't know what this is right now, maybe this is the time to reach out to the first person that came to mind when I said someone you're connecting with from the past. Who was that? Who popped up in your mind? It's likely a man, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. But was there someone who came up in your mind? That's a person to maybe make some plans with of some kind. It's really important to have something to look forward to at this time. If you clicked into this reading, then if you don't have plans with them yet, then this might be the time to start making plans to reach out to that person that you first thought of when I mentioned that it could be somebody from your past. Even though we have a bit of a focus is to just kind of enjoy where you're at, I feel like there's this idea of being distracted with the snake looking outwards instead of inwards. And I feel like if you were drawn to the third deck here, then this is a time to go inwards. So I kind of want to see what is important to focus on inwardly at this time. Knight of Swords and Six of Pentacles. What I'm seeing here with the Knight of Swords is that you may have been driving yourself pretty hard. And this isn't just physical, pushing yourself physically in your life, but it's also mentally going to the next task, constantly looking at what's next. So in the vision, when I saw the snake go by, it's like, oh, there's a thing, I better go deal with it. And I also call this card like a card of survival mode. It's kind of just doing one thing after the other without thinking through things. But this is the time to give your body, which is, I think, the horse on this card, a break. It's pushed too hard right now. And I know that is easier said than done. I feel like that's one of the phrases that goes with your reading here if you pick the third deck. But that's the feeling I'm getting, is that you've been driving yourself really hard, and you've also been driving your mind really hard to perhaps produce results that you wanted to produce, to look for things that could be threats and taking them out before they could take you out, right? And the other card that's coming up here is Six of Pentacles, and I see this as a karmic card, especially the sixes I always associate with, coming and going. There's this reciprocity that's happening here. And this is saying, like, if things are out of balance, we have the scales here, that's what's going to come back to you, or things that are out of balance. But if you are taking time to make sure that things are in balance as much as you possibly can, then you're going to experience a balanced life. We're not always going to get it perfect, but the scales will always rebalance themselves. And this is a time where you're being asked, instead of just to act without thought or just to go really quickly and drive yourself really hard, if you continue to do that, you're going to feel the negative effects of that. And this reading, the whole intention of it is to kind of lift you up. And the good news with this is that you've already been working really hard. You don't have to work so hard at this time. if you can relinquish things, relinquish them. And before you actually act and do the next thing you're thinking about, think about whether that thing actually needs to be done or not. Can you take a break? Can you give yourself a rest? Is that a possible thing for you to do? The answer may not always be yes, but if it is, take that break. And just know that what you're doing in those moments is you're rebalancing the scales. It's not for nothing. You're not just taking a break and nothing happens. What's happening is you are rebalancing the scales. I just want to give you a hug because I feel like you're working so hard, and this has been a really difficult time of assessing things that are coming at you faster than they should be. And that's not fair to you. And this is the time where you get to gently bring yourself out of that survival mindset as much as you can. And this is a time where you get to rebalance the scales a little bit. And I hope that tools like cartomancy and like this reading are going to be helpful to you on that journey. Lastly, let's go ahead and look for a mantra that can assist you through this time. We got the Prism card. The quote at the top of the card is, "You are what you believe in. You become that which you believe you can become." And here's the mantra that accompanies this card in the book. It says, "I paint my reality with a bold spectrum of colorful shades. I allow experience to be filtered through a prism, which shows me the wisdom within every color grade. I can bend light with love as a force of my will. The rainbow of life is here to show me that my life's journey doesn't always need to be an uphill battle." I think of our mind like the prism. So it receives light in and it also broadcasts light out. And if we are letting in things that are tricky, that may be toxic or harmful to us, it's harder for us to filter that. And I think this is a time to make things easy on ourselves. We've been working really, really hard. And I like the end part of that mantra where it said, "The rainbow of life is here to show me that my life's journey doesn't always need to be an uphill battle." And I feel like that's how things have felt for you if you picked the third deck. It's felt like an uphill battle. You've been in survival mode. You've been assessing all the possible things that could go wrong. And now is a time where you get to see the beauty that is here. You haven't been able to enjoy that before. And this is the time where you truly get to do that. But I also think this is a time to really monitor what you're intaking. And I think this is with physical things like food and things like that. But I also think it's with what you're consuming here on YouTube or TV shows you watch. This is a time to really put good input in so you don't have to filter quite so much out. It's also the time to watch your thoughts. Remember, we had that Knight of Swords, and with that first quote of basically what you think you become, right? So this is the time to really monitor your thoughts, pay attention to what it is that you're thinking. And even if we have a negative thought, it's not the end of the world, but we want to try to shift those thoughts to things that are beneficial to us. Overall, this is a time to rebalance the scales. It's a time to appreciate how far you've come in your life right now. And it is also a time of balancing the scales, bringing things back into balance and noticing the beauty of this moment. If you would like to have a one-on-one reading with me, you can request your reading at emilyrosedivination.com/offerings. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.